Good morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it might be for you guys. Welcome back to the hay farm. Currently heading up to the cattle shed to get the ventilation systems working. It's gonna be some hot days in the next upcoming weeks, and I want to make sure the cows are staying properly cool. Somebody decided to leave the door open. That's nice. But we should just be able to get our cooling fans on by clicking that little switch. Yes, sir. That is awesome. Covering today's activities, though, we're going to be heading out of town looking at a Facebook Marketplace listing for a combine. It's pretty much sight unseen. There's only one photo. But we'll get you guys on the road, and we'll see you here in just a bit. While heading back to the house, I do want to note another project we're going to be working on today is getting this fence line fixed. I am so tired of having to try and jury-rig something together to be able to get in here. So we're going to back this fence up about 3 feet and bring out some new posts. That way when we turn a trailer in, it's like the offset on the opposite side of the road, making it a lot easier to enter and exit. On top of that, we do need to get the cows slightly fed. The only issue is that I'm down all of my tractors because all of them are still currently in the hayfield getting the grass cut. We did at least get my house yard cleaned up. That took only like an hour and a half. But last year I took my swather out and I was cutting the wheat ground with the mower, and I know that wasn't realistic. I should have had the one like wheat header that swaths it into a path, but if that's the case, I'm basically wasting my wheat crop and not getting the grain out to then sell on top of the straw. Meaning I'm going to see if investing in a really cheap combine will kind of help offset my profits by getting me a little bit of extra money on top of just getting the straw bales. So let's drop a gear and disappear, get back up to the shed and get the cattle fed, and we'll be on our way. If you guys do like hay farming content, would absolutely love to see more, I'd highly recommend possibly giving the video a like and maybe even considering subscribing down below. I am on the race to 100,000 public subscribers by the end of this year, and hay farm is another really great series of content that is on the channel. The seasonal diversity of different kinds of farms on the channel is something I really try to strive to get better at, and each and every video I literally just do more and more research to become better and better as the days go by. Never going to be perfect, but you know what? You can always try. On top of getting the cattle fed, though, we're going to need to contact Daryl so he can get a hold of his brother Dave, because Dave's going to allow us to borrow his Kenworth on our way up to McGregor, Iowa, where this combine is located. Of course, with cheap things, we run the risk of getting something that's an utter piece of garbage, but I'm willing to take the risk. The combine seemed to be in all working order. It says it hasn't run in 3 years. There's the listing of it. It's not looking hugely promising, but we get a corn head, a bean head, and the combine itself. We'll take some supplies with us, see if we can get it running. Plus, if all goes well, we'll have a really cheap combine to help increase the productivity of our operation. Gotta think skinny getting around this bobcat, though. I'll get the cattle fed, and then we will catch up with you guys when we're probably getting ready to get on the road and head to McGregor. Come and get it, Junior. It ain't gonna get any more raw, you know. I like the little calves running around in there. That's really cool. But that should be good. Let's check animal stats. Oh yeah, that'll be doing just fine. We'll throw some water in there and then I'll worry about the sand later.
A few moments later.
Whew. Sorry, guys. I forgot that I didn't have a truck up here. I had to run down and get the GMC. But this thing has been a fantastic farm truck. I love this thing. This has been a great truck. To all of my cattle farmers that might be in the chat today, let me know down in the comments, guys, what kind of cattle do you prefer? Are you more beef cattle farmers or are you dairy cattle farmers? I myself have worked on a dairy farm in years past. Pretty much have done the entire process from milking the cows to selling the products. It was a really fun experience. Would I want to do it full time? Absolutely not. Okay, cows, get out of the way, otherwise you're going to get hit. But it was definitely a really good experience to get your hands on in and learn about the industry. You already know what to do? Let me know down below. I'll run to Home Depot, get some supplies to help fix this fence, and then we'll have Daryl Corey out here to get us going. And then it's off to McGregor. With all of our shopping done at the Home Depot, we have our new fence posts as well as the wooden planks to create the new fence itself. I'm going to rip these apart. I'm going to try and salvage as much as I can. Using the Bobcat, though, we're going to rip the posts out of the ground, set ourselves some new posts about 5.5 feet back, making the entrance that I've been really wanting to make for the longest time, and then rebuild our fence line.
2 hours later.
With some fresh coats of paint, I think that is going to do nicely. Look at how much more room we're going to have to turn. That is... I don't even want to begin to know how much better that's going to be for us. All we have to do now is just mow around the gate just so it can look a little bit cleaner in the entranceway. Toolkits, check. Ether, check. Chains, check. Corey, not check. Okay, we got at least Daryl. That'll be good enough. The keys to his K100 Kenworth should be in the shed. Daryl's just going to follow me. I'm not going to drive his truck, but I've heard that it's a Detroit in this thing and that it screams really nicely. At least Dave was kind enough, though, to let us borrow the truck. He can't at least not have a cold start. Did I rev an engine on a cold start? Yes. Do I care? Not really. It's not my truck. It's a rental.
We are screwed.
Now, just in case it is a bit more than I'm anticipating, I did run to the bank and grabbed a couple thousand on a loan before we left. Daryl should be following right behind me in the mirror. Where are you at, buddy? There he is. The farm we're going to, though, is a little bit outside of town. It should be that one according to navigation. We already called ahead. The guy's ready to be out here. His name's Terry. Seemed like a nice guy on the phone and was really open to help us out. Let's go take a look at this combine and see what we're really working with. I really hope this isn't something that I'm going to regret buying later. Oh, Daryl, are you going to take that corner right, or are you going to take it too narrow? And he took out the sign. Definitely a nice little place, though. Got a nice Duramax sitting in the shed. It's apparently buried back in a tree line, so wherever this thing is at, we'll probably have to readjust Daryl to get him lined up. I guess that old combine is not the only thing that he has. 3010 sitting there. Yep, there it is. Okay. Daryl probably gonna have to sit right in this little pathway. I'll obviously have to get out of the way. We'll get Daryl set up and then we'll go take a look at this thing. Ah. Yep. Picture wasn't lying. That's rust. Not too good. Holy cow, this thing got eaten alive in the back. Or at least pretty close to it. Description said it hadn't ran in 3 years, so I'm hoping that means it was running back when they parked it, and then it just sat here. But who knows? The corn head's right here, but where's the bean head at? Also, where's the oh, gee, hi! You must be Terry. Yes, sir, that would be me. Now, you say you want $9,600 for this thing, but I need a little bit more information. Was this something that, I mean, is it all complete? Is it just completely rusted? Like, what's the situation with this thing? Used to be used as a primary combine, but then upgraded to the Deeres, and now you're selling out. It makes enough sense, but do we have any problems with, like, leaks? Probably bad fuel lines, maybe some chewed wires. It's got a slow hydraulic leak. I mean, that's all stuff that I can work with, but where's also the bean header at? Oh, okay. I gotcha. I can see it. I can see it now. The only problem I see with this stuff is I'm probably gonna have to do a lot of re-greasing, but I mean, it doesn't look terrible. It's just it's got a lot of surface rust on there. Do you have any spare parts for this thing laying around anywhere? Or is it just like I didn't anticipate this being as rusty as it was. By the picture you guys took, it didn't look like it was that rusty. Also, do I get to keep the running gear, or is it just the header? If it'd just be the header. Okay. Do you happen to have any other trailers then I could take this on? Because I don't have the money to go buy a brand new header trailer just for this, I hate to say it, POS. The utility trailer? Oh. I mean, it could, yeah. It's got the width to hold it. $2,200 for the trailer plus the header on top of it? I don't think I could do that. I tell you what, Terry. If we can get the combine running, we got some parts, we got some fuel, just basic tools to see if we can get this thing to spark up and turn over. I will give you, if you're willing to work with me, 9,000 for the whole pair. Because who knows in what on Earth's nation between weathering and broken parts already this thing's going to need. You could think about it. Daryl, would you be able to go grab the starter fluid and the jump box out of the truck? We might need to take a battery out of something if you got one, Terry. Yep, all good. I'll get up in here and let's see what we can do with this. If it's been sitting for 3 years, I don't think the fuel line or the fuel tank's completely rotted through, but who knows how long this thing's been in the condition that it is. We might just hook up a temporary fuel supply to see if we can get something to pull in case the fuel lines are clogged or some sort. Let's give it the old 1-2. Primed, we have a temporary fuel source hooked up. Oh, come on. Daryl, grab the hammer out of my toolbox, hit the starter, see if the thing's stuck. I'm just hearing a little bit of a click. Let's try that again. Come on. Oh, okay, we have compression. Daryl, just give it another shot of starter fluid and see if we can get this thing to crank over and run for a little bit. Maybe it just needs to prime itself a bit more and fuel pump ain't working. Round 2. Oh! Well, it runs. Not great, though. It sounds like garbage. I don't hear any ticking. Let's see, does this thing have any hydraulic pressure? No, that header's not. The header's not coming up. Is it at least drive? Oh, she's trying. She's trying. Stuck in the mud though, or something. But it doesn't seem that we have any hydraulic pressure whatsoever, which leads to probably what the major puddle is underneath this. We probably have a major hydraulic leak in either the cylinder or the line going to the cylinder. I didn't check if I had power steering, but at least this is something to work off of and look at. So you crawl under this and get a new hydraulic line on it. Terry, I don't know if you have anything, but do you happen to have any hydraulic oil laying around that we could possibly use to fill up the tank on this? Because I'll get some measurements. Daryl and I will head into town and go get some new hoses with fittings, and we'll see if that helps fix our hydraulic problem. You do? Okay, we're going to make a road trip quick. If we can have that by the time we get back, that'd be fantastic. Or we can help you out, but you don't have to do it yourself. You got it? Okay, we'll be right back. You heard it here first, folks. We're heading down to Tractor Supply. This combine seems to have life, but I'm just hoping that the hydraulic problem is a really simple fix. We just replace some hoses. Tractor Supply is probably going to not rip us off, but hydraulic hoses are not cheap. Unless you know a friend or a really good location that gives you a pretty decent deal. I forgot the hose. Now that we actually have the hoses that we need to, it looks like we're going to have about a 3-foot section worth of hoses for both sides of the lift cylinders underneath the feeder housing. And we did also trace back to the hydraulic tank just to see if there were any other fittings that seemed to be loose or they had an O-ring maybe that was going bad. I highly doubt that every single O-ring in that thing hasn't seen better days, but if we're just trying to get the combine started for as cheap as possible, this is probably going to be our best route. Our hoses bought and some extra little things cost us about 480 bucks. Like I said, things are expensive. We're going to head to Wendy's, get a quick Frosty for me, Daryl, and Terry. Hopefully we can get the price down a little bit. Let's get this white combine up and running. Frosty waffle cone. That's just what I need in my diet. Nope, regular Frosty. Thank you, have a good one too. That's got to be the only drive-thru I've ever seen that's built to house one of these big trucks. I also know those two guys. Should talk about Andy Clean on there. If you guys like the world's greatest farm soap, please go check out my buddy Andy over at Andy Clean. He's a fantastic guy, and he's been keeping both my farm and my mowers in real life clean as can be with some good, clean fun. Noting that Farm Progress is now almost less than a month away, I do also want to mention to you guys that I'm hoping to be out at Farm Progress this year in Boone, Iowa. I will be staging out at Andy's booth at the John Deere booth. So if you guys would like to stop by, say hello to both me and Andy, be sure to stop by the Andy Clean sector of the John Deere booth at Farm Progress. Hoping to also be out at Husker Harvest Days not too long after that. But luckily, Annie's going to help us get this combine cleaned up once we get it back to the house. It looks like Terry does have the hydraulic fluid ready to go. I'll just park it right here if you'll let me. Let's try and get some stuff installed. Terry, we also got you a Frosty, so I hope you like ice cream. We'll get the parts installed, though. I'm going to have Daryl probably start working underneath the feeder housing. Terry, do you happen to have any documentation or any more descriptions on what was going on with this thing? Was this combine just completely used and abused, or was it actually properly maintained and it just ran its course over time? Was kind of a mixture between the middle. Understandable. While Daryl gets the hydraulic lines installed on the feeder housing, I'm going to get to work on searching through any more electrical problems that we might have with chewed through harnesses or any sort of mouse infestation. One nice thing is that we have a really big hopper on top of this thing. I mean, look at the deer, and then look at this thing. This is huge, especially for the time this combine would have been out. Blow out the air cleaner. Check our tire PSI all the way around. That is some major dry rot, but that certainly won't come back to bite us later. Find some quick grease zerts, get them nice and lubed up. Even these hard to reach ones. Get the last one that I can at least see. And let's take it from the top. Daryl, you got those fittings on? Cool. All right, Terry, watch out. It's looking good, looking good. Do we have drive? Also, do we have power steering? Or at least have power steering. Moment of truth, does it drive? Oh. I mean, it seems like it's moving, but oh. Might help if we try and raise the header up. Oh, yeah. We have hydraulics. All right, Terry, watch out. Oh, yeah. Look at that. It's not running good at all. This thing sounds horrible. I mean, it's just belching out black smoke. It is running rich. That or it just hasn't run in a boatload of years. Do we have an auger? We do indeed have an auger. Since we don't have much fuel in this thing, I don't want to waste any time. We're going to take it for a quick little test drive just to see how rough this thing drives. Yeah, this thing has definitely seen better days. But I'm excited. The combine runs and drives. I did try and lube up some of the header parts on the corn head. I'm not going to be using that, but I do want to check to make sure things are adequately running. So let's fire this on and see if we have rollers and chains working. Doesn't look too bad. It sounds like it hasn't run in a while. Definitely going to be getting some chain grease on those at some sorts, but I think that's honestly good enough for what we're trying to do. Here, if you don't mind, I'd like to try and get the bean header on this thing and seeing if we can test that out and see how well that one runs. Header is off the trailer. I repeat, header is off the trailer. Hero got it greased up. Let's see how she runs. Not too shabby. Still, again, not great. Worn parts, but it's as good as we're going to be able to get it for the price I'm probably going to buy this thing at. Well, Terry, a deal's a deal. $9 grand for the combine, both headers, and this trailer to haul that header home. That be all right? All right. I'll get you a check written, sir, and we'll be on our way. There is $9,000 that we have out. I did have to swap the hitch out on the back because we had the pin hitch. We needed a pintle to haul this thing. But there is our trailer, so let's get this thing forward, get the bean head loaded up, and then I'm honestly thinking that if we can just go and get ourselves a quick permit, we might be able to haul that combine back home with the header on for the corn head. It's not wide enough that we would need to have clearance. I'll also be the one that drives the semi home because I have a bit more experience pulling loaded cargo on these trailers, and Daryl just feels a bit more comfortable with me doing that. So we got this loaded up, we'll get it nice and strapped down, and we'll be on our way back. I'm definitely excited to see how well this thing pulls going home. You see what I mean, though? It's not nearly as wide as, say, a modern-day combine. Like, this is like a modern combine going down the road that you have to take the wheels off of. We'll just put it this way. Stuff made today is just huge. This truck does sound absolutely phenomenal, though. You didn't really leave much room for us to get out of this driveway. Watching my back end. Oh, we hit the trash cans. Dang it. Got about a 3-hour drive home. Let's get you guys some Kenworth mic'd up moment of the days and let this Detroit sing. Definitely having to take it slow through Main Street, but we made our way back. Please don't hit that car. I didn't really have a way to take the back roads to get here since a lot of stuff near the bridges were too narrow. So we really had to just kind of make our way the best way we can. There any cars coming? Okay, let's go. This truck is, as much as I love this truck, the Detroit definitely is starting to make my ears ring. I hate turning this corner with a regular trailer, let alone now a lowboy. That stop sign's gonna have to go bye-bye. And we just barely made the corner. I'm beginning to think that corner wasn't made for a semi-haul and a combine. We're looking at our crop map. Our wheat is registering as done, meaning we're gonna get this combine set up as fast as we can and over to that field and start cutting. Daryl kindly gave me enough of a leeway to be able to try and figure this out, but like I said, it should fit. Just gotta squeeze. Think skinny. Mint. As long as we manage the gauges that do still work on my side panel, keeping things with an operating temperature and levels, we shouldn't have too many things to worry about. I'm not expecting this crop to perform fantastic, mainly just due to the machine that we're using, but I do think we'll at least be able to turn a little bit of a profit. I will have to get the D21 hooked up to the gravity wagon so we can have something to hold the grain. But in the end, our plan of attack is to head up in the sky with the drone, get some shots of the harvest. Once we get the harvest done, / the grain wagon full, I'm going to dump a bit of it in the chickens and then we'll sell off the rest just for profit. That way when we start baling all of this, we doubled our income by just selling off the grain and baling it for the straw. Dale's gonna get in the combine, and I'm gonna get up in the sky. We'll see you guys here in just a bit. With just about a full wagon worth of grain, we're gonna dump as much of this as we can into the chicken coop, and then the rest of it we're gonna fill up and take into town and see what we can get for money. It's only about 250 bushels this thing can hold at max, so I'm not expecting to make a fortune, but it's a bit more money than we probably would have gotten had we just baled the straw up and made it a bunch of bales. These chickens have a huge food storage bin, so if I feed them right now this entire wagon, this will last us easily into the last parts of September. So I'm really only going to dump about half of this cart in there so I'd have enough grain, or at least time, to sell off some more bales and get a bit more supplies before we have to go get some more chicken feed. Nothing like growing your own feed though and saving some money. Here, chicky. Luckily in my backyard I'm not as worried about than my front yard. If I was driving on my front yard with this thing, we'd be having problems. Plus Daryl's giving me the ring and we're getting pretty close. Get the stuff dumped off and head back. By the looks of it, we're gonna have to take in some eggs too. That's quite a bit of eggs. Probably only about $1,000 worth, but hey, that's a little bit more to earn back on that combine purchase. Just please tell me that Daryl has the pipe out on the correct side. He doesn't have it out on the correct side. And never mind, he just doesn't have it out on the right side. I was like, do I have enough room to sneak in behind him? As much as I'd like to get him out and just back him up and do this correctly, I ain't got time for this. I'm just gonna back up and go into the crop. This is really good performing wheat though by the looks of it on my monitor. I think it was probably almost 115 bushel wheat. Like, I'm no wheat expert, but I would think that that's really good performing crop, even though we got some weeds in here. I took just enough wheat out of the hopper. I think Daryl might be able to get himself to where he can turn it around, and then we'll empty out the rest of it. I think, though, that this combine's hopper holds 200. I don't know that information for a fact, but considering that he emptied out almost his entire hopper last time I ran with him on the go, and that put me at almost exactly full at 250 bushel, that's where my math comes into play. I don't know if it's just me, but the Hay Farm series slowly has been turning into the old school series because we just keep buying older and older equipment. And even though I got a full hopper, we'll take this into town quick. It just seems as though we've only been buying old stuff, and that doesn't bother me. Old stuff's good. But when we started this series, we had a 6M tractor. We still have our brand new Vermeer baler. But since we've started, it's been like 1990s and older for the things I buy. I don't know exactly where I'm supposed to sell this though at the best price, so let's take a look at our prices quick. According to this, it's showing that the HH milling is $10.04. Mount Vernon, Illinois is just a couple cents more, but I'm interested to see what this 32.30 is. I don't know if that's what we're going to do, but we're going to head to HH just to see and clarify. The beacon is where I'm heading, so let's get over there and start selling and seeing how much money we can make back on that combine. Come to think of it, I don't think I've ever gone this far north on this map besides the left side of it. So this is actually uncharted territory for me, even though I really do like this map. I've never seen this up here. You're not going to get nearly as much as I thought I was, probably. $10 though. That might mean we get like $2,000. Poll results are in. Oh, I lost 68 bucks, but that's $2,500. I'll take it. Depending on how much more grain Daryl had in the hopper of the combine, we'll take it into the other place since I think it's a little bit closer, and we might be able to get at least $4,000 out of that. That at least puts us halfway back to getting our money back on the combine purchase.
20 minutes later.
Once we got back to the farm, we ended up swapping out the D21 with Corey's Ford. Out of all the pickups that we could have used, Corey's is probably set up the best because it does have the diesel. All of our trucks are diesels, but Corey's is the only crew cab short bed, so it's going to be the heaviest and most weight distributed. Pulling a possibly full load of grain with this thing is not going to be easy, but I think that this truck can do it because we're not pulling two wagons. We're just pulling one, and it's only a 250. Plus, I trust the truck enough. It's only 161 bushel. That should be just fine. Let's get it dumped off, sold off, and then I will see you guys back at the house to round off this video. I'm beginning to think I shouldn't have taken it to this place. I forgot that when you sold the grain at the main elevator, you actually had to call the train. Well, the grain's gone, and there's no train, even though I've rented the train. We'll wait on it, make sure we get it sold, and then we'll let them know the profit margin it.
See anything yet, Patrick?
I need my glasses. It's the mail truck! Our package!
Because I get to drive the train, you bet your sweet bippy I'm gonna honk the horn. Only took a wee bit of time, but I'm not too worried. All of that for just 160 bushels of wheat. Pathetic. It's always cool to be inside the train, though. I like it. With another $1,600 in crop being sold, that does push us over that $4,000 threshold. I think that was at least a good return on investment for the quality of the product that I bought. So that is going to wrap us up for today's episode on the Hay Farm, guys. I do appreciate you all for tuning in. Kind of apologize that it wasn't really geared towards what the name of the series was, hay, but hey, with hay comes straw. That was a lot of hays. We'll see you guys, though, in the next one. Be sure to check out the Boomstick Club for all the up-to-date content from me and the gang. You already know who is in it. I gotta get this truck back to Dave's. We'll see you all in the next one. This is the Rental Man out. Peace.